Okay, folks, we're back in for part 2 of my instructional video, whatever you want to call it. This is for the GE Profile Harmony washer. We fixed it to where it run for a little bit, and now we're going to put the parts that actually belong to it. The parts we're going to be replacing is going to be this balance ring, which I had to seal up because it lost its liquid inside. That's what keeps the whole thing steady. Remove this first, and then the nuts and bolts are right there. We'll have to remove some screws from around this edge here. I don't know if you can see them, and get this old one off. That's the cover. There's a balance ring underneath that. And then we'll get the metal tub out, and we'll replace the plastic tub, which hopefully isn't too hard. But yeah, we'll get that started. And tools you're going to need are probably going to be like a cat that eats too much. I got my impact wrench there with a 1/2 inch socket. You can see it over there, and another socket that he's currently covering because he thinks he's got to be the show star, but it's a 32 millimeter. That's what you take that center bolt off with. And of course you're going to need a drill. If you have a cordless drill, it's better. Mine's kind of dead right now, so we're just going to use the old Hypertech. And of course, if you might need a ray gun and a grenade just in case it all fails. I'll get right back to the rest of this in just a second. These screws kind of get rusted in there, so you might have a little bit more issue. I've taken this thing apart. The easiest way I found to take this apart without having to go through disconnecting wires and crap like that is there's 2 screws that hold this in the backside. You can see the hole for one of them there. You just remove those 2 screws and then pull up and then forward towards the front of the machine, and that should release the whole thing. So that way you can prop it up just like how I have it there. If I can just aim for the screw, we'll be good. Well, that's where I'd probably do that one by hand. Hypertech's been through some calamities, dropped and whatnot, but they work pretty good. Better off with a cordless, so we're not fighting with a cord though. Especially since you have to disconnect the electricity on this, you don't want to fry yourself. But this is the cover of what I'm removing right now. Gotcha. Not all the way loose. If you don't have some of these specialty tools, I'm pretty sure you could ask a friend or neighbor. They'll probably lend them to you if you return them. So balance ring cover comes off. This is what I did last time. I went ahead and I ran some silicone and some 5 and 1 minute epoxy. It didn't seem to do anything with epoxy and the silicone, so I just took a bead of hot glue and smeared the shit on. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take and use that 32 millimeter. Of course, I had to use an adapter for the whole thing because it is a 1/2 inch socket, and all I have is 3/8. That's my little mighty elephant 3/8 is. Use an adapter to put it on there, and I already ran my hose from the. Oh yeah, you'll need a compressor if you use one of these. And these kind of ends are preferable because they don't come undone when you're trying to pull something across the yard or something. But you want to make sure you get it on there square and good, and then you're gonna Takes a little bit of coaxing, but once you got it off, you set that aside, connect this hissing snake. And this whole assembly pops out pretty easy once you got that part taken out. We're going to set this aside for a second. And so far it looks like, I'm hoping, not too sure, but it looks like they sent us the wrong tub, which is very bad. This one we fixed and got it working right, but since they sent us the balancing ring, we might be able to make out like bandits. So let's take a look at the other tub and see what the differences are. This still here. This have one that's flat. Then it's got a hole for that off balance sensor. Yeah, it's not gonna work. This is for a different type. So, well, after careful examination, which we could have done that whenever they dropped it off to us, but we were on our way down to Texas to say hello to our family. But this tub is for a different model. Maybe it might be for the profile, but it's not going to work for this job. As you can see, bottom where the metal tub sits, it's flat. Here it's raised, and down there you have a little pin in the corner that's kind of like an off balance sensor. There you go. Thank you, wifey. But that's an off balance sensor, and that whenever the metal tub starts going like that, it stops and resets itself. So this one here, I imagine, is for one with a agitator on it. That's why it's raised. So we're going to go ahead and set this one back. We're opening this one. Everyone, like I said, I tried to say earlier, say hello to my wife, April. She's the one cameraing for me. Give him a smile a bit. Turn it towards you. Okay. Come on. All right, fine. She's a little shy. Please will be the right one. I hear the water inside, and it seems like it looks like the right one, so we might have made out at least half of the stuff new. And we can get away with replacing this balance ring on top of the metal tub, and that'll straighten it out, and hopefully it won't be wibbly wobbly, and the bolts won't wear into the side of the plastic tub again. But as we can see, it pretty much all matches, and down to the two fillers, because there's the upper stage in this and the lower stage. And we just got to run the bolts from this one into the metal tub and place it back in. So while I get that together, we'll take a break. And oh yeah, I forgot the most important thing whenever you're doing this is you got to have this tool right here. Yeah, because this right here is brain energy. All right, see you in a bit. Crown. When you take this apart, there's like a lot of body gook on it. Believe it or not, no matter how clean you are, you can always use a better cleaner washer machine. So if you got any mating surfaces, clean them up like I did here and I did there. It eliminates any problem of like debris getting in there for it and messing it up when you go back together. They do, however, on these they have a guide marker. So when you put it back together, you just look for that square in the metal tub, and that'll be your guide for where you're supposed to put this at so it's balanced. And you can see there's water sediment on the outside because it's still leaking. Even though I put the thing, I don't know if you can hear that. But anyhow, I digress. We're going to put on the tub again. The tub now has the new ring on it. Now inside the tub, there's a spline. The bottom of it's splined, so that way whenever you put it down, it has to sink onto the splines itself. Otherwise, it sits up like that. So you gotta make sure you get it, and then it slides all the way down. Okay. And remember, reverse step of washers and everything back on there. This nut looks like it's always going to look like it's corroded. It's got some kind of like stainless coating, but it's like a steel nut maybe. Put that back on. Hand tighten everything first, that way you don't strip stuff out. And then I'm going to scare the hell out of my daughter, because my daughter's down there with my wife. But I have to tighten up the center bolt, which if my wife wants to, she can hold on to the wiggling baby, or she can pause the video for a second. Because she's going to wiggle. All kids get scared of sounds high and loud. Ready? The infuser is what they call it. That piece that goes back in the center is also splined, and it has a special bolt and washer that goes on it, so you want to make sure you don't lose any of the washers and whatnot. Yeah, I don't know if you can hear my daughter in the background, poor Maisie. She's a little bit upset because Daddy put a loud noiser and scared the piss out of her. But he's gonna have to do it again because I have to tighten down this nut. I'm using an impact. You guys don't have to. I'm not sure what the spec is for like torque value, but I'm going with my medium set torque rating on my impact to give me a good seating. And like I said, start everything by hand. Sorry, Maisie. Okay, once you got that in there, it should be nice and stiff. There should be no play in that at all, other than moving round and round. So then after that, all we have to do is go reverse order, and I'll let my wife go and attend to my baby while I put this ring that I already showed you how to take off back on, and then I will show you how to run the washer to check it without having to take the back off or somehow hold the lid open with a finger and, you know, one ear and tongue out the side of your mouth. There's a special trick that they don't tell you how to do, and then if I have time, I'll show you another cool trick with the console of it. By pushing certain buttons, you can get a diagnostic reading of what's wrong with your washer. Okay guys, I'm back. Now here's the thing about these profile deals. I got it all together, if you can see inside. There's the infuser, and I put the cap back on, bolts back in it, everything's bolted back up. I even put the two screws that go back here in the back, plugged it in, and we have our screen. Now the thing that they don't tell you about, because they don't want you to know basically, is there's let me see if I can find a way to set this up here. There is a special way to access. It's gonna be kind of hard. My wife's feeding the baby, so y'all just have to bear with me. Okay, hopefully that gets it. But if you take and put these 4 buttons down at the same time, and it'll let you into diagnostic mode. Basically, when you do that, it brings up anything that's wrong with the machine, but you want to make sure you do it before you unplug it. I'm not sure if it works afterwards, but it's just like a car, I imagine. If you take the battery out, all the codes go away. So, and you know, the other cool trick I wanted to show you is that if you have a handy little dead speaker around, because you're going to need one, you're going to put this on. Here, let's just put it on special cycles like rinse. There should be a rinse and yeah, rinse and spin. Okay, so we're gonna rinse and spin, normal, soil, blah blah blah, and we're going to place this speaker magnet right here, and that is going to let you have the door open while you, or the hood open while you watch it spin and make sure you got everything right. So let's give it a start. You can see it's load sensing. It should start filling with water pretty soon. But it's making sure that it has enough of a load, or what kind of load it needs to wash or rinse, so it does this whole chickle thing. And so far it's spinning pretty smoothly. Not sure what's happening here though, because I don't have rinse going in there. It says rinse filling and I don't see any water, so let me take a look at that and get right back to you. Okay, so I'm back and we have it filling up now. It should fill up for a little while, but it's basically I had to take and clean out the orifices on the screens and back, because these hoses that they put back here, they come with hot or blue for cold and hot for red for hot, but some screens so that way you can filter out if you have any bad junk in your lines or whatever. It's going to take a minute to fill it up, but once it does, it should be running pretty good. Basically, so the main trick is to put that magnet right there. So there's a sensor down below that'll hold it open. So that way, or hold it close, that way you can run it with the lid open. So far the water seems to be coming in at a pretty steady rate. There's no wobbling in the tub. I don't find any leaks on the floor yet. Still got my laser beam and my grenade though, just in case. Yeah, it looks like sufficient amount of water. It's probably got about 2 gallons of water in it right now. I'm going to go ahead and change the settings on it, and we can do that by pushing up here, change settings, and decrease the cycle time. Maybe that'll work. No, it won't let you, so okay, go back. And start and stop it would be the better. There we are. Drain and spin would be what I wanted. So now we're going to drain and spin, see if that keeps it going right. Pump seems to be working because the water is decreasing. Now let's see how fast it gets up and goes, because it does fly pretty fast. And then it has like several speeds to drain all the water out of your clothes and whatnot. Alright, it's about almost empty. Me myself, I don't really care for these agitatorless infusers, but my wife likes it. Her parents gave her the washing machines a long time ago, and she wants to keep them running, so I do my best to keep them going. But any more part replacement, we might as well just buy a new one, I think. You can see the balance ring, the main purpose of it is when it starts to rotate faster and faster, this balance ring here on the top side is filled with liquid, and it kind of acts like a weight on the car wheel. That it will, centrifugal force will make it stay centered. And so far it's doing a pretty good job. Pump stopped. Now it's just trying to get all the rest of this water that's setting in the tub out, and it'll go faster and faster and faster, and then once it gets up there pretty fast, it should stop. If it ever gets out of balance though, there's a little pin I showed you earlier that will touch on the metal part, and once it touches the metal part of the tub, it tells it, okay, we need to stop it and recenter everything. So then it does like a backspin on it. So as you can see, it's doing pretty good. I'm gonna stop it right there and then see, put this video together, and maybe it'll help you guys. Okay, so give a thumbs up, like it, don't like it, tell me what you need to know more about. If I messed up on anything, I'm sorry. I'm not an appliance repairman. I'm my wife's handyman, and I thought I'd just help you guys out because I've torn into this thing like at least 5 times, and each time I fixed something, it just seemed like it wasn't working all that great. So we're trial and error on it. If it helps you out, let me know.